Yeah, so I just kind of grabbed those questions quickly. If you've asked questions before, I'll probably still get to it. If I don't get to it in the next couple of videos, maybe ask it again. Maybe I've gotten lost in my swarm of comments. But I'm kind of sifting through all my comments and questions and trying to pull the questions out. Sorry about the frame rate. I don't know why it's so low right now. It's at 11 for some reason. Usually it's up in the 20s. There you go, 22. It's a little better. I know it's something to do about the replay itself. Because if I record this like 5 times in a row, it'll drop down to the 11 in the same point in the game every time. And it's not even when a lot of action's going on. It's just there's some random place that keeps dropping down. It might also be when Fraps creates a new file. Because I think when I record this with Fraps, it actually records about like 40 gigs worth, and then it creates a new file every 4 gigs. So my scouts got picked off by the lings here, so I actually sent in my force to kill those lings, and I then spent that time to kill off these rocks while I know he didn't have control of the tower. So Zerg is coming in for an attack here, and a bunch of Balings coming, and even though I scouted the Baling's nest, I forgot to create a control group of 2, and you want all your Marines in 2, or at least I chooses 2. That way you can pull the Marines back, let the Marauders take the hits, or at least try to kill the Balings before they get to your Marines. But I didn't do that, so there is 2 quick ways you can get control of all your Marines to pull them back. One is to control click 1 Marine, and then you get control of all of them. Then I can pull them back this way. Another way, that can be difficult in the battle because everyone's moving around. You might actually click on a Marauder, or with the medics flying overhead, you might actually accidentally click on a medic. So the other way to do it is if you have your entire force selected, which you often will, you can actually control click a Marine portrait, and that'll select all the Marines within your selected group. So if you have everything selected and you control click a Marine, now you just have all your Marines selected, and you can pull them back that way. One other thing I want you to pay attention to is watch the Banelings. Notice how they're not on attack move; they're just kind of running over here randomly. The idea behind that is you actually want to run through the force. He kind of misclicked, I guess. So you run through the force rather than A moving. Because if you A move, they're just going to bust on the front units, and they're going to hit. For me, when it says I pull back Marines, they're just going to hit the Marauders. So what your Zerg players are doing now is they actually click on the opposite side, just right click on the opposite side of your force. And that will just cause the Baling to try to run right through and not attack anything. But as you destroy the Balings and they blow up, they still do that splash damage. So it's kind of like A move, except they're getting in deeper before they explode. And they even can get back to your Marines if you pulled your Marines back. So I think it's a much better way of doing it. Of course, he kind of ran his off to the side, which isn't that great. So I was able to save most of my Marines, or at least half of them, so I'm able to handle these Mutalisks pretty well. Upgraded Marines, especially with Medivacs. Yeah, they toast Mutalisks pretty good. Mutalisks are great for map control, and they can assist in a battle, but you never want them to be the key portion to the battle. I have stimmed a lot here, and I only got 2 Medivacs left. Although I may have split my stim. I may have stimmed just the Marauders last time and just the Marines this time. And yeah, now there's Broodlings, Zerglings, and no Medivacs on those Marines. My Marines are down. Only got Marauders left. Zerglings could have easily cleaned them up, but he decided to pull back the Zerglings since I had no anti-air left. So I decided to retreat. And whenever you want to retreat, stim before you run. Because retreating is all about getting out of there fast. And when you go back to your base, you can always repair it. Okay, maybe not the best example of that, but I did save one Marauder I wouldn't have saved otherwise. But I did take out the hatchery during that time. I'm going to come back here because often when you leave larva like this and the extractors, it's just too tempting for him to turn that larva into a drone and rebuild his base here where he already has made extractors. So I'm just going to guess the fact that he's going to build a base here. At least I think it's a guess. Maybe I do scan him as well. I'm keeping an eye on these 2 bases with my factory here. But Zerg has put up a 4th expansion and clearing out his 5th expansion. So it's a good thing I took down his 3rd. And this match is going to be a lot like the match I put up earlier where it's like versus mass expanding Zerg, except I think this is more my best case scenario where I do everything right. I'm pushing out at my strongest point here, trying to negate his economic lead at my strongest point, before his economy just takes over and destroys everything. At the same time, I really think I... Alright, let's take out this expansion once for all. Moving back. Another thing, I was well on top of my upgrades. It was just like magical this match. Every time I clicked on an engineering bay, it was right when upgrade was about to finish, so I could start the next one. So my upgrades are going like non-stop. So my SCV does get nailed before I can scout up here, but just the fact there's so many forces up there, I'm like, were they hiding there, or are they actually defending something? So I do throw down a scan any second here. There it is. So I do spot that he set up his 4th expansion here. And I'm going to go out for it. And the nice thing to do, whenever you attack, it's always a good time to expand. So my timing on my 3rd expansion there I felt was really good. And I think I might go this battle well. I do pull back my Marines as the Bailings are hitting. So I save most of my Marines. And I am 2-2 for this battle, which is sweet. And even though I do a lot of damage, I am going to lose everything. And you might think, well, I was winning most of the battles, and never really fell behind that for that long economically. So how did he actually win that battle? Well, it's because I never actually brought in my reinforcements, which is kind of a mistake. A Terran army in small numbers will lose to any other small army of Protoss or Zerg. But in large numbers, I think Terran easily has the most powerful army in the game. Both if you do bio or if you do mech. Especially versus Zerg. Protoss does have some pretty hard counters, so I guess they can match in large armies as well. Say Colossi or Templar, but... So that was a mistake, but at the same time, it does give me a couple of advantages. One is he may feel very cocky in that he may feel like, oh, I just took out his base, now I can throw down my... what is this? 1, 2, 3... This is like a 6th hatchery now or something. But he can throw down another expansion, and may try to throw down another expansion here. He may start pumping out drones, thinking, this is my window to get my economy up nice and strong. And that is exactly what you should do when you wipe out an opponent's army. That's always the best time to expand, because there's no threat of a counterattack. And if you're Zerg, that's the best time to dedicate your larva towards drones. So he may believe I have no army, but I actually do. So bring up his production tab. Well, he's not drone pumping, but he is throwing down double expansions. He just made that one, and he's throwing down another one here as well. Sorry, I got this a little bit slow. Ugh. Not only cold I got, but I think I got like the flu, because I've had a bit of a fever. I'm weak as hell. I don't mind the fever, I don't mind the symptoms of a cold, but I hate feeling weak. I just got like this pain in my lower back that's like impossible to get rid of. And it's not like your lower back's tired, it just feels like your muscles there have disappeared. You can't even support your own body weight anymore. So even though I got 2 turrets here, that's a lot of mutas. He's going to kill off the majority of my SCVs, but at the same time, I am taking out his most saturated expansion. Or, I guess this was his 4th expansion, and now he's just got his 5th and his 6th left. His 5th running, and his 6th about to finish. And I lost a lot of SCVs there, so go to the income tab. Yeah, you can see I was probably around 50-55 mark in SCV in harvesters. Now I'm down to 36. But he was probably at 60, and I've knocked him down to 47. So we both lost a good amount of harvesters there. So in the same way that I like to put down like almost too many missile turrets just to ease my game, make it a little bit easier. It may not be the best economic idea. I also like to do planetary fortresses for the same reason. I may find somewhere to build like I may put an orbital, like say if I take the island. But more or less, I like the planetaries just because it's one less thing to worry about. I don't have to have the best positioning in my army ever to be able to cover this base, as long as I can get back in time to save the fortress that's repairing. So that's one thing you can do if you're a low APM player like me, just kind of a little bit more on fortresses than orbitals, and it eases the threat of counterattacks. So I'm getting a little lucky here. So you can see I paused the game here. I have the Xel'Naga, so I can see that he has 3 Ultralisks kind of sitting off on their own, undefended. But unfortunately for him, his sight range, he can't see anything. So I'm going to get a free sneak attack here. Yeah, ultras are sweet, but yeah. Focus firing them one at a time with a giant army, including 13 marauders, so you can take that down fast. So I do see him morphing a bunch of Balings, but at this point I just want to get the hatchery and the drones for the Balings. And now at this point I want to get the ultras because they're more of an immediate threat. Notice I was focus firing that one at a time. Now I see the Balings, I do pull back my Marines. I have lots of warning for that. So I saved the majority of my Marines there. And yeah, what the F is right. Having taken down yet another hatchery, this will probably be like my 6th hatchery I've taken down. This was my ideal game. I think my timing to get my 3rd was awesome. I guess I'll just run this out. And yes, he was like, okay, we're even in economy at the beginning because I fast expanded and he fast expanded. And then he took over with economy by taking like a 3rd and a 4th before I even started my 3rd command center. Which is going to happen. I mean, Zerg, you can't out economy Zerg. Zerg just can pump harvesters way, way, way too fast. But what I can do is I can do my timing push, which I think is when I got like my first 4 medevacs out and my 1-1 upgrades, along with my stim and concussion and combat shields. It's like a really good time. And at that time, Zerg has the advantage in economy, so I have to make sure I do enough damage to get myself back into the game or even take the lead. And I find that timing push is pretty strong for me. It's a pretty strong army. Yeah, he kind of held me back, but at the same time, it still took down his hatchery and did probably at least as much damage to him as he did to me. So he never really got that giant economy. And then I kept on it. I timed my 3rd well. I was all over my upgrades this game. Almost lucky in how fast I was. I got to 3-2 ridiculously fast and finally 3-3. And yeah, and then as you can see in that last battle, it's just an absolute slaughter when I'm 3-3, and I think his mutas were 1-0 and his ground was 0-1. So yeah, with upgrades that far ahead, it's pretty sweet. I don't know if I've answered this before, but people have asked why I don't mix tanks into my army, and that's definitely something you can do. Tanks are good for many things. Help a lot versus Bailings with their smart fire and their splash damage. Just as well as their just awesome damage output, and their range can help bring the battle to you if you need to. But there's also a couple of disadvantages to doing that, and one is obviously it's more micro, which I'm not good at, and it makes your army less mobile because like with this I can just run around anywhere I want. With a stim I can run around fast, or I can just load everything in medevacs and go quickly that way. And the other thing is, since I'm going heavy on upgrades, I mean, if I have a choice between a 3-3 Marauder or a 0-0 tank, that's actually a tough decision for me, even though Marauder is so much cheaper than a tank. So, yeah, once you start considering upgrades in the mix as well, this is definitely the advantage of sticking to one unit type only, in that the upgrades cover everything. So yeah, this is definitely I'd say this is almost a lucky game how well things went for me. But this will be like my best case scenario facing a Zerg who fast expanded. And that last game I did, which against fast expanding Zerg, is more of a no, I would say worst case scenario, but I would say definitely a game that didn't go my way. I definitely lost that game outright. It's just the Zerg was stupid and threw away his entire army at my planetary fortress and allowed me to get back into it. Yeah, so that said, I'm going to end this video. Remember to leave a comment in the comment section, if that makes sense. Yeah, I guess that's kind of goes without saying. Sorry, brain's fried a little bit. Anyways, comments about whether you want me to do more live sessions at the cost of resolution, or whether you're just like hardcore 1080p or original and you'd rather see more videos that way. All right. Thanks everyone, and goodbye.